Hey guys, so I have this Tito's vodka bottle that I wanted to use to show you guys how to decorate any of your glass bottles with some rhinestones, some glitter, and even some fox fur. So I do have this leopard print fox fur that I got at Hobby Lobby. It is already pre-cut and it was only $3.49. So before I begin placing any glitter or rhinestones on the bottle, I am actually going to go in with the fur first, measure to the areas where I'm actually going to be placing it on the bottle and cutting those. So as you can see there, I wrapped the fur around the bottle. I am leaving a little gap in between the fur and the label where I'm actually going to be placing glitter. And then I am marking exactly where I need to cut the fur with the Sharpie. I am double checking it is as perfect as I can get it to the areas I'm going to be placing the fur. As you can see there, I am marking it, double checking, and then I'm gonna go in with the scissors. So I am gonna be cutting a separate piece right here for this bottom part. So that's gonna be right after. I am going to be cutting different sections of fur for different parts of the bottle. I am not just going in and placing this whole piece onto the bottle. No, this is why I am doing this before I place any glitter and rhinestones, so it doesn't get messy later once I have the glitter on, the rhinestones, This is why this is the first step you want to do when you are going to be placing fur onto your bottles. So now that I cut it, I am measuring it against the bottle. Once again, making sure everything is as aligned and perfect as I can get it. So once I'm done with that, now I'm going to be cutting across the top. I'm going in with my Sharpie once again, marking on the fur exactly where I need to cut. And I am also marking on the bottle to work as a guide where I am going to be placing glitter on the bottle and use it also as a guide to know where to cut. So as you can see there, I am measuring everything, double checking before I go in with the scissors. And then I'm going to cut right across the top where the label is, creating my first section of fur. So you can see there are the markings on the bottle. Like I told you guys, that is going to help me work as a guide, knowing where to place the glitter and knowing where I need to cut, where exactly I'm going to be placing that first. So here's my first piece of fur. It is perfectly aligned to the top of the label all around the bottle. To the bottom, including those little areas, I'm going to leave clear for the glitter. So now I'm going to cut the piece at the bottom. It is going to be a really small piece, as you can see there. I actually turned the fur around since it is a really small area, so I knew exactly where to cut it. I also left a little gap right here because I am going to be placing glitter at the bottom also. This little piece is actually going to be longer than it needs to be, but that is completely fine because I can go in and cut it once I actually go and place it on with some glue later on. You guys will see that later on in the video. Now I am cutting the piece that I'm actually going to be placing around the round area of the bottle. I am measuring it all across, and once I actually place it onto the bottle, you guys will see how I cut it. This is just pre-sections, guys. Once I start placing it on the bottle, like I said, I'm going to be cutting and editing the pieces as I need to. So just a little heads up, this can get a little messy because it is fur and you are cutting. So there's going to be fur everywhere. Trust me, I'm telling you, it's going to be everywhere. So just clean it off and keep it clean. So now that I am done cutting all my first sections for the bottle, I can actually go in with the glitter now. So I have some Mod Podge and some ultra fine petal pink glitter. I am going to go in and pour some Mod Podge into a separate container because I don't want my used Mod Podge mixing in with my clean Mod Podge. Now I have this really nice small thin brush that gives me those perfect lines I want of glitter across and around the whole label. So as you can see, those markings I did with the Sharpie, look how perfectly they align with this brush. I am getting a nice thin coat of Mod Podge that is still thick enough to hold the glitter once I pour it onto the bottle. If you do have any excess Mod Podge that goes into your label, go ahead and wipe it with a Q-tip. So as you can see there, I did my layer of Mod Podge and then I went in with my first layer of glitter. I do have this little dust brush that helps me so much once I want to clear off that glitter off the label and around the areas of Mod Podge. Be very careful you don't actually, touch the parts with the wet and still fresh glitter and Mod Podge so it doesn't wipe off. So I actually let that dry for about 30 minutes and this is the first coat of Mod Podge and glitter. So totaling one coat so far. This is gonna be my second coat. Like I told you guys, do let them dry in between coats. That is very important. Around 30 minutes. So this is my second coat. Again, same thing, Mod Podge, one layer of Mod Podge, and then go in with your glitter. Dust off any excess and then let it dry for 30 minutes, totaling 2 coats of Mod Podge and glitter. Dust off any excess glitter because you can still reuse all that glitter. That's why I have my paper in the bottom so I can catch all that glitter and I can put it back into my glitter bottle. So remember, 30 minutes in between coats to let them dry. I am also going to do some glitter coating right here on the actual bottle handle. I'm going to do the same thing, cover it with some Mod Podge, a nice thin layer, and then add some glitter all the way around the handle. I'm going to do a total of 2 coats of that. So I'm gonna let them dry in between coats also. So 2 coats for the handle and then 2 coats for the areas around the label. So once both areas of glitter are completely dry, we are going to go in with the last coat of Mod Podge, which is just going to be Mod Podge. You're not going to be adding any more glitter. This coat is actually going to work as the top coat, the clear coat, the sealer, whatever you want to call it, just to make sure no more glitter is going to be falling off. When you grab it with your hand, when you move it around, there's not going to be any glitter residue left anywhere. It's going to seal it all into place. This is why it's very important you get full coverage of those areas. Clean off any excess Mod Podge. And once you see this completely dry, you don't see any more of this white of the Mod Podge, that means it's completely dry and you can handle the bottle. It's going to take anywhere from 30 minutes to maybe a few hours, but leave it so it can completely dry and then we'll move on to the next step. So now it has been a few hours. The Mod Podge is completely dry. You don't see any glitter falling off onto my hands and I can move on to the next step. So I have E6000 glue, which I'm going to be using to place the fur pieces onto the bottle. I have all my pre-cut pieces of fur that I cut at the beginning of the video. And I am going to begin by placing the large piece of fur that I cut first to the bottle. So I'm going to go in with the E6000 glue and placing it onto the areas where my first piece of fur is going to go. So I'm placing the E6000 glue straight onto those clear parts of the bottle that you can see right through it. I actually did not place any glue on the back label. If you want to, you can go ahead and do that to get extra full coverage and make sure that fur sticks really good onto the bottle. I placed the piece of fur on the table and then I placed the bottle right on top of it, wiggling it around if I needed to until it was evenly placed on the bottle. I pulled it around if I needed to, making sure it is nice and flat around the bottle. It is pulled all the way to the bottom of the bottle where I wanted it to be. It is nicely glued. If I needed to add any glue, I went on and did that. It's looking really nice right now, as you can see here. And now I'm going to move on to placing the bottom piece of fur that I had cut already. So like I said, this little piece is actually longer than it needed to be, but that is okay. I can cut it with the scissors. So I'm going to add the E6000 glue and then place this piece of fur on it. Once I'm done with that, I'm actually going to cut the excess length of the fur. Make sure when you are cutting the extra pieces of fur, you don't accidentally glue any of the fur onto the glue areas. And once you add more pieces, make sure you blend the fur with each other with the other pieces of fur that are already on the bottle as much as you can, so you can't tell that those pieces are all separately cut. So as you can see there, I cut it, I glued it, and then I blended the fur with each other, pulling it and moving it around as I need to. So this is how the bottle looks so far, and now I'm going to begin adding the pieces around the round section of the bottle. So if you guys remember, I did cut a whole piece that goes around the whole bottle of this area, but I am going to be cutting it in two pieces before I glue it on. Because if you see, since it is a round area, it's not going to go nicely flat and it kind of curls up right on top, if you can see that. So I measured it and I cut a small piece where I know it's not going to be bending that much on top, and I'm going to place some glue onto there and then glue it on and move it around as I need to get it as flat as possible onto this round area. And that is what I'm going to do for the rest of this section. I'm going to measure, I'm going to cut, and then place it onto the bottle, blending those pieces all together. As you can see there, I'm moving it around. I am pulling the fur to blend in with the rest of the fur that is already on the bottle. I actually cut a piece right across the other one, and then I went in and filled in those two pieces with a middle piece. Another little quick tip you can take into consideration is before you do cut your fur, spread the fur around in the line where you're going to be cutting, and then cut right in between that little spread of fur so you can avoid losing as much fur as you can. As you can see here, I am measuring, cutting until I get the piece to as close as I need it to be to fit that specific area. This is why I told you guys to have your scissors handy, because you're gonna need them to fill in those gaps. So there, I am going in with my piece. I'm gonna place it onto the bottle, blend it, cut it if I need to, get it as close as I can to each piece, and I'm gonna spread and blend all that hair with each other so you can't see where it was cut. Like I said, this is what I'm doing for the rest of this area, measuring and cutting as I need to. Don't be scared to use those scissors, guys, because you need to make sure this section works and it is blended and it looks good. Okay, so use those scissors and use that glue. So now that I am done adding all the fur onto the bottle, everything is nicely placed on and blended, I can go in with some rhinestones. I'm going to be using E6000 glue to add those rhinestones to the bottle. I'm using a little toothpick to place the glue onto it, and I'm going to do a nice line of rhinestones all around the top where I did place this fur, to kind of hide, that line where you can see the fur. If you don't want to do this line, that is completely up to you. You don't have to. I am just doing it, like I said, to cover that line where you can see where that fur was added. You can pull the hair around if you want to kind of cover this area. Like I said, if you don't want to add those rhinestones, but I am using SS20 gold rhinestones. So I'm going to go all the way around using that E6000 glue and those rhinestones. Once I am done with this line of rhinestones, I am actually going to be adding some rhinestones all around the label where this rose gold line is. So I am using E6000 once again, adding it with the toothpick and then placing the same rhinestones gold SS20s all around. So as you can see here, I am just about done adding the rhinestones around the logo. I'm gonna double check my work and make sure everything is nicely blended. Those rhinestones are nicely added and placed onto the bottle. And then I am done, guys. You see how it's so easy to do a bottle like this? Super simple and easy to do. So these are my final results. The bottle came out beautiful with the pink, the leopard print, and those gold rhinestones. I hope you guys learned a little something. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like always, thank you guys for watching. This bottle is perfect for New Year's, for a birthday, for your birthday, for any holiday or event you have coming up. So once again, thank you guys for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys in the next one.